Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of my wonderful and beautiful little lovelies out there. And how I love you all so. I hope you're all super duper well, super duper wonderful, and super duper delish. And that life is treating you most deliciously wherever you are in the world, okay? Now, I hope that wherever you are, my little lovelies, that you too have been having delicious weather. I'm not saying this about any of our little lovelies out there who may not cope very well in the heat, especially, if they have breathing problems, bless you, see what I mean, okay? So I'm not talking about those lovely dears, bless them, with anybody not in that way, not in that way, But for anybody else, I hope that one's been enjoying the sunshine. Okay, my delicious little babies now then. So what's the time, Mr. Wolf? So it will be 18 minutes past 9 p.m. In our order. England, my delicious little babies, on this very beautiful, it's like a beautiful breeze. Summer breeze makes me feel fine. You know what I mean? What year was that song? Anyway, my delicious little babies, but it's been super duper warm and hot today, delicious. And so I've been, getting plenty of vitamin D, okay, even if that is a thing or a thing, you know what I mean? My delicious little babies. Point of the matter is, I feel better for it. Okay, my delicious little babies, they give us a bit of a hot weather, they keep putting up all the red sands, with all these weather reports, you know what I mean? My delicious little babies. Well, I personally do not feel that anybody who um, uh, basically takes a complete pee and and sends that out on national television. I do not even believe that they should have a job role, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean, because it is blatantly lying, to the public, to mankind. Do you know what I mean? My delicious babies, I've got to remember to say that we're not public either, okay? Just like we're not citizens, okay? All these things now, things is what they have named us, okay? They have named us human, but I always call us mankind. Do you see what I mean? Okay, must always remember the wording. Now then, my delicious little babies. So just got to quickly tell you. So we've had um an electricity cut, or some would know it as a power cut. My delicious little babies. Okay, well, I mean. It has only been a couple of hours. It's back on now, my delicious little babies. It's just come back on, I think, about 10 minutes ago. And I mean, it could have been worse. I mean, it could have been absolutely peeing down with rain outside, and ones, I should imagine, would have probably got bored out of their tree. You see what I mean, my delicious little babies? But as it turns out, it was, lovely and pleasant, so what more can you say? You know what I mean? It wasn't so bad, and not things, everything, sorry, has defrosted in my freezer. So everything's, cool, isn't it, my delicious babies? However, I do have an issue with this, my delicious babies, because um, who reported uh, the electrical cut, the power cut, my delicious babies? Okay, so at this point, there was only two um, who had reported the power cut. You know what I mean? My delicious babies, okay? But it turned out that there was 334 houses, well, properties, my delicious babies. Funny how they got the number to 334, isn't it, my delicious babies, you know what I mean? Anyway, so, well, basically, they were saying there was a problem, with that something had blown up or something. Okay, my delicious babies, there was some sort of, blow up. Anyway, my delicious babies, but it only affected 334 properties. My delicious babies, you know what I mean? Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're in 2026, aren't we, my delicious babies? So what they're saying is that if nobody had have called, then they wouldn't have known, because something about words to effect, I cannot say the exact words because it was not myself on a dog and bone, and I popped out with my beautiful little Ruby Tuesday because my beautiful little Maisie Min, she was resting, bless her. But the point is, my delicious little babies, that in 2026, which we go back decades ago, we never had anything like that. Yes, we had a power cut, an electricity cut. Yes, it was a rarity, actually, that ever happened, just like now, okay? But they would sort the problem. They would be working out the problem and sorting the problem out, okay? Apparently, who was told said that if nobody had a call, then they wouldn't have known. I find this really hard to understand. My delicious little babies call me illiterate. I do not believe that I am, and that's nothing against, by the way, anybody who cannot read or write. I did not mean it that way. Okay, call it sarcasm, but the fact of the matter is, my delicious babies, that's like going into a hospital, isn't it? And by the way, this is nothing against anybody. I would never do this. Okay, this is a figure of speech, and I'm getting a point across. And by the way, this has happened in real life, my delicious babies. But it just came into my noddle when I happened to be talking to somebody about this this evening. That's like going into a hospital and the one leg that they're saying needs to be amputated, but then the doctors or the surgeon goes ahead and amputates the wrong leg. Now, by the way, we've heard about a lot of that, haven't we, my delicious little babies, you know what I mean? So even when the patient, bless them, has clearly stated which leg, you know what I mean, is either in a lot of pain or there's a very serious issue. Okay, my delicious little babies. Anyway, there's a lot more to this. Anyway, the point of the matter is, fast forward. That's like saying, okay, the surgeon has removed the wrong leg. And then, it's like saying, well, we didn't know because you never said. Well, that's not good enough, is it, my delicious little babies? Do you see what I'm saying? Yes. I know what I'm talking about. In 2026, we shouldn't have this problem. Okay, so it needs to be questioned. But like I said, it come to 334 now. Just down the road, a hop, skip and a jump from where I live. If you turn left, walk down just a tiny bit, there's like an electrical, like a like little box thing, you know what I mean? My delicious babies in a sorry, excuse me. Somebody from the other road decided to go and walk down my delicious babies. So I happened to be on my way down, walking down, and who it was who lives in the other road was walking up. And I said, was everything all right down there? And he said yes. He said it did smell. He said a bit ozone. Okay, my delicious little babies. Well, I never really expected that to come out of somebody's mouth trap. You know what I mean? It did smell ozone. Okay, my delicious little babies. So I just feel, these words, they don't half get about, don't they? My delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? So something smells ozone. I'm going to leave you with that thought, my delicious babies. So maybe if you're out and about near an electricity plant or something, why don't you have a smell and see whether it smells ozone. Okay, my delicious little babies, I couldn't believe it when somebody said that. I stood. Well, I had to continue the conversation on. You know what I mean? It's not very often that I'm ever stumped for words, but flip me. Anyway, but no, but the man's wife. I'm being serious now. Okay, my delicious little baby. She, which I never knew, and I've got to be honest, I never knew. I said, well, how long has it been like this for? Anyway, I never knew. But he says, well, I hope it doesn't go into late evening. He said, because my missus, he says, my wife is on a dialysis. I said, oh, kidney dialysis. He says, yeah, at home. Yes. So, I mean, something like that is Very serious, isn't it, my delish babies? I knew somebody years ago who, very sadly, bless them, excellent psychic surgeon. Okay, my delish babies, and yeah, absolutely excellent medium, everything healer, everything banging. Not in that way, not in that way. But he had to visit, was it once a week at the hospital or twice a week, you know, for kidney dialysis. Okay, my delicious baby. So, you know, so when there's a power cut, an electricity cut, okay, you know, we have to look at these, or say if somebody's on was it nebulizer or these oxygen machines, do you see what I mean? Okay, so um for ourselves who are blessed, you know, my heart goes out to anybody who's poorly like that, but you know, for ourselves it would not affect. That's the point I'm making. But not only that, but there's parts of the world who do not have electricity. You know, by the way, we should have free electricity. All of us should in the world. You know what I mean? And not have something free now then, where we're paying through the nurse for it. You know what I mean? My delicious babies, however. It goes to show one thing, doesn't it, my delicious babies, that I suppose without all of our gadgets, you know, I'm not saying everybody is, you know, some are happy to read a book and so forth, but you know, it goes to show that without laptops, without televisions, without dog and bones like this, you know, without anything like this, you know, one's, I suppose, can get a little bit bored or something. Do you know what I mean? Okay, you know, like I said, unless they're a little bookworm, you know what I mean. They just like to read all the time, you know. Then it doesn't affect them at all. But that's the point. I'm not going to ramble on anymore. But anyway, I thought I'll just explain. Now then, my delicious little babies. So I've got 3 videos, and then I'm going to be over and out. So, right, this is a bit of a mixture this evening. I wasn't even going to do a video, my delicious little babies. I wasn't. But I thought, you know what? There we are. I thought I am going to do this. Okay. Well, there should be no surprise, surprise. You know what I mean? My delicious little babies, anyway. So, we've got, right. I'm just going to, right. What it is, I haven't wrote it all down. Okay. So, I'm going to explain who the uploader is. I feel, sorry, I've mentioned them just once before, my delicious babies, okay? And this one uploaded all on YouTube, my delicious babies. The first one happens to have 1.13 million subscribers, my delicious babies, okay? 1.13 million. And they're called capital G Grow space capital V Veg. Now, I'm not talking to any of our delicious little babies who happen to look at my channel, which nobody ever really does look at my channel. Very rarely my delicious little babies. Anyway, not to worry, not to worry. There's always someone seeing, there's always someone hearing. The point is, my delicious little babies, I'm pointing this out for a reason. Now, I've got an issue to do with this fertiliser business. Okay, my delicious babies, I really do have, there we are, a very strong issue with this. Okay, and what's the issue? Because if we go back decades and decades ago, especially when, so my beautiful dear little nana and granddad and my beautiful dear little uncles and families and everything, who used to all grow their own food, by the way, and my delicious babies, there we are, yes, they did, at the bottom of the garden. So you wouldn't have heard this song and dance, would you, my delicious babies, about, you know, all this fertiliser and all this shit. This man here, I think it's just 11 minutes long or just over. It could be just under 10 and something minutes long. He explains, I'm not going to say any more. So if anybody happens to have any interest, my delicious babies, he explains how fertiliser, well, basically, can be made that we are very easily. Okay, my delicious babies. Now, it's up to ones if they want to. Sorry, excuse me. My delicious baby. I take bits and pieces. How many pieces, bits and pieces? I take bits and pieces out of videos, my delicious babies. Okay, so I take out what I need to store. There we are, in my noddle. You know what I mean? So I've got it like a photograph up there. Do you see what I mean, my delicious babies? Yes. Anyway, that's the first one. None of these videos are very long, my delicious babies. Now, the second one, my delicious babies, happens to have 685 thousand subscribers, my delicious little babies, and the uploader is called capital D. This is all together, the word and the numbers. Okay, my delicious little babies. D Burke 321. I'm going to spell it for you. Capital D E Burke, then numbers 321, but it's all together, my delicious little babies. Okay. Now this video is, I think it's just over 26 minutes long. Now, it was uploaded 2 years ago. Again, I'm not talking to any of our delicious little babies who have already seen this video. I'm talking to our delicious little babies who have not seen this video. Okay, my delicious little babies. Now, I feel as though I may have seen it, there we are, before. Okay, whether or not I have advertised it, I am not sure. I do not feel I have, but this rings a bell. You know, like when I was looking at it, I thought, hold on a minute, I've seen something like this before. Okay, now the video should read the documentary that was banned worldwide. Okay, my delicious babes, I'm just going to repeat this again for you. The documentary that was banned worldwide. Okay, my delicious babies. Now, what is this about? What is this about? It's actually degrading to any mankind to have to go through these appalling conditions, and the way that the ones who worked in these places treated the patients. Okay, my delicious little babies, it's really, when you actually look at it, it's rather upsetting. There we are. It's rather upsetting to watch. Okay, it's insulting. And it's insulting somebody's intelligence as well, because you could clearly see that in this particular video documentary that these were not what I would have regarded, you know, a sandwich short of a picnic. You know what I mean, my delicious babies? I'm not saying that to be nasty now. You're talking to intelligence, and the way that they were taught down to was absolutely putrid and disgusting, man. That's the way I viewed this particular short video, my delicious little babies. Okay, it's enough to send somebody, not meaning this in the wrong wording now, totally insane, just by the way that they were spoken to, the way that they were treated. I'm not going to say anything more, my delicious little babies, but like I said, I'm not talking to anybody who's already seen it. I'm talking to anybody who has not seen it, okay? And I wanted to really make sure that there we are, that I pointed this out. Now, finally, my delicious little babies, it's just such a shame, okay? It's just a terrible shame anyway, but, you know, these places, I just don't trust any of it, my delicious little babies. I'm really just not, shall we say, a very trusting woman at all, my delicious little babies, with a lot of things, you know what I mean? A lot of things, you know what I mean? My delicious little babies, yes. Finally, now for some of you, you would know about this. Others of you would not know about this. Anyway, all of these, my delicious little babies, okay, the Grow Veg, that's come back up on my feed. I haven't seen it forever. And anyway, I do not believe it came up on my feed the first time. None of these have. Okay, these are the ones you have to fish for. Okay, my delicious babies. Now, like I said, some, you know, some in the alternative media, they may know about this, but there may be many who maybe do not know about it as well. Okay, so this uploader happened. This is the final video for this evening. My delicious babies, 820,000 subscribers. My delicious babies, okay, so it's 820,000, and it is called the uploader is called capital A, which is A, space capital C, current. Okay, you can spell current, you know, a couple of words, can't you? This is spelled, I'll spell it for you, Current, current, as in the currents coming in. Do you know what I mean? There's a current. Do you see what I mean? Okay, like sea, like, you know, there's a current. Okay, Marsden space, capital A affair. Okay, so it's all spaces, a current affair. Okay, now the video, I haven't wrote it all down. Again, I think this is just over 11 minutes or something. But this is to do with petrol stations now, Martelish babies. It's called 7-Eleven. Well, straight away, when you look at 7-Eleven, so you got number 7, haven't you? Then you got 11, which is in letters, writing. But 7-Eleven, because 11 is 2, isn't it? You add it to 7, that comes to 9 completion. Okay, Martelish babies, so they clearly knew. There we are. Let's just say, corporate and so forth. What they were doing now. Okay, Martelish babies. Okay, so it's called 7-Eleven. So basically, was it 2 or 3 families now? I think there was Sikh. Anyway, well, it wouldn't matter if they're Sikh or whatever colour or nationality, and that's not being rude, okay? But in this particular case, this is what it happened to be. Now, what it is, the long and short of all this, Martelish babies, okay, is that they took on these petrol stations, okay, and this is all to do with franchise, okay. So they took it on. I think the one couple with the family, they'd had, is it 20 year, okay, 20 year, okay, Martelish babies, and then after, so basically, the long and short of it is, without going around the houses or around the mulberry bush, they put 20 year of their life in to this petrol station. Okay, Martelish babies. The one couple, they bought and sold to called 7-Eleven. Okay, Martelish babies, think they went on to the third one. Okay, if my noddle serves me correctly. Okay, but the point is when it come to, was it renewing or something, another 10 year, they said no. Then I do believe the corporations took it over. What the families were saying, this is the point I'm getting to, is that they spent all those years building their business up just to find themselves with nothing, because now it's built up. Well, at the end of the day, you know, they've done all the hard work. There we are. Do you see what I mean? Okay. Where do you hear this? Martelish babies. Okay. Now, what they're talking about is that they do not get any compensation either. But I'm pretty sure if you look at the average petrol station, Martelish babies, so this is not me having a pop at the families now, but for myself, there we are. I cut through all the red tape. Okay, Martelish babies. I do not know if anybody's been into a petrol station lately. I personally have not, because I've got no wheels at the moment. Anyway, I'm not bothered about that. That's the least of my concern. Okay, Martelish babies, but for anybody who does. And I remember when I used to. Like, if you wanted to buy, I don't know, it could be anything at all. Could be a sandwich of some sort. Could be a drink of some sort. You know, like say if ones are travelling. Could be, in some cases, sausage rolls, pies. You know, you want to heat something up, a coffee. Okay, and you're always paying, there we are, over the damn odds. Okay, Martelish babies, and let's not to mention over decades and decades ago, Martelish babies. I mean, I remember when petrol and diesel, they went really high. And I remember when there were shortages, yes, I do. And, you know, because I filled one of the motors up. But anyway, the point is at the end of the day, Martelish babies, and then, of course, it'll come back down. Anyway, but the point is, at one time, you could just stop off. You never had all these buildings, you know, you just had little man, you know, who'd say, oh, would you like, you know, petrol, or, do you know what I mean? And then just stand there and do it for, anyway, those days are gone, clearly. You might see it in occasional country or something, but I should imagine very rare. But what's the point I'm making, Martelish babies? Well, if they've put all the heart and soul, I'm pretty sure, come on, let's get real. And I know Sikh families, you know, and everything, and Indian and everything over the decades, right? Let me tell you, they never walk around without a pot to pee in. Do you follow what I'm saying? Okay, they usually work very hard. There we are. They do work very hard. Okay, so I'm pretty sure that these families on this video, now delicious babies, okay, that let's just say they probably would have had, there we are, a house bought or something like this. Now then, I cannot see that they never. Okay, what their issue is that they've done all the hard work to build it up, and then it's just been, in other words, it's like somebody's just pulled the rug from under them. Okay, Madslish baby. So I got that part. Where they talk about the compensation, well, I'm sorry to say, look, my heart goes out to anybody who's lost a business. Look at the older pandemic, what happened, the old COVID. Okay, Madslish babies. Look how many businesses in that right. Could any of these get their compensation back? That's in our old England or in other countries, Madslish babies now. So this is not myself being a bitch. I'm not being a bitch. And if anybody feels that way, then just be done feeling that way. Maybe my channel's not the best. Maybe it's better to skip, isn't it? Or move from it and not be nasty. Do you know what I mean? I'm just cut through. Like I said, there we are, the red tape. Okay? But obviously they feel very hurt by what has happened. Because what they're saying is 7 days a week. Well, if you look at it, it's 24/7, isn't it, really, that you're open? Because, one's wanting petrol, diesel, maybe snacks or whatever they want. Do you know what I mean? Mad, delicious babies. Okay, so that's the issue there. Okay, so that's why I wanted you to take a look for anybody who hasn't saw it. Okay, mad, delicious babies, but I did listen. It's not that I'm heartless, but I'm pretty sure, there we are, that they have got their properties, their houses. However, they've also lost Kaching as well. Okay, I think one had lost, was it over 800 grand or something? Okay, so that's not small change, is it, my delicious baby? Small ching, 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 is it? Okay, so you can see why they're upset. But just to end my video here with what I'm saying, where have we seen this, my delicious babies? Look at Cadbury's in our old England, my delicious babies. I talked about this a while back, didn't I? Anyway, I've talked about Cadbury's a long time, okay? My delicious babies. I mean, where I live, I mean, I know, well, I know exactly where it is. I mean, I've drove there that many flipping times, mad. Not to go in there, but I know the area very well. Okay, there's not a lot of areas that I do not know. I should have been a taxi driver, mad delicious babies. You know what I mean? Anyway, plenty of those around as well, isn't there? Taxi drivers. Well, there's also the ones with a driverless. Well, good luck with that. Good luck with that. You wouldn't see myself getting in a driverless Murta. Not a chance. Not for all the flipping money in the world, ka-ching in the world, I wouldn't. Do you know what I mean? Okay. But, and I would hope that nobody else did. But anyway, you do have ones who tempt fate, don't you? There we are. Mad, delicious babies, you know what I mean? Getting back to the matter in hand. See how Cadbury's. So, they used to at one time use very quality ingredients. It's very difficult to get hold of any kind of decent chocolate these days, my delicious babies. Even when I'm making my chocolate cream cake or anything, it's just really hard to get hold of any decent chocolate, any Bournville bars of chocolate used to be delicious, real dark, sharp chocolate, but really nice. Do you know what I mean? Okay, it didn't feel like you were eating chocolate, but it was really nice. It was like Bournville, it was cocoa, it was just delish. So that's one. You got Greggs. Look at it. Look at the chains. Is what I'm saying. Okay. If you look at there used to be another which was a butcher. So this is for anybody who used to eat meat, okay, or does eat meat. There used to be one called in our Brummyland called everybody knows it, Walter Smith's. Okay, they used to have the Walter Smiths. You know what I mean? Little anyway. They all close down. Then, of course, it gets pushed into the supermarkets, doesn't it, Martin? Babies. You see what I mean? So, if you look at the long and short of all this, without boring you, Martin, babies, if you look at smaller businesses, okay, 9 times out of 10, either the families take it over. If they do not take it over, well, or there's nobody else to take it over, or maybe they do not want that responsibility, okay, then it gets sold out to the corporation. So going back to this, I just wanted to explain it so everybody, there we are, ding ding dong dong, bless you all, is getting where I'm coming from. What these are saying is these families, is that they've built it up. There we are, from scratch, from nothing. So they would have built their customers. They would have, you know what I mean? Because you would always have regular customers, wouldn't you? I know in myself, whatever job I've done, if I've been working in town or whatever, I need to stop off, get some petrol. It's usually diesel cars I would have anyway. I think I've only ever had two petrol. I think I feel only about two. The rest were diesel. I just prefer the diesel. My delicious little babies, mind you. You know. Oh, I heard another video. That was not so long ago. Was it Red Diesel or something? Somebody else has got done for that, haven't they? Is it that in a different country or something? Got done for Red Diesel? Anyway, Mardlish, but that's been around years and years and years. Mardlish, decades, that has. I know, I know what I know about that. Anyway, Mardlish, little babies. But the point of the matter, well, fair play to anybody. Do you know what I mean? Anyway, but apparently that's illegal, isn't it, Mardlish, little babies? Yes. But I can see why they're upset. But we only have to look around us in the world to see, there we are, what has gone on and what is, there we are, very sadly continuing to go on. You know what I mean? Okay, so one's, that doesn't mean no, just got an itch, one's build the businesses up, don't they? And then somebody else, and this is the whole point to this, what they're saying, takes the damn credit. Do you know what I mean? Mad, slick babies, okay? Yeah, stumbled there, rightfully so. And that's the end of my video. So I do sympathise, but at the same time, I'm seeing a lot, there we are, go on. And I have over the years, my delicious little babies, do you know what I mean? Okay, but this is a good thing to point out, and especially to do with petrol stations. Okay, my delicious little babies. So whether it's morning, afternoon, or evening, please have a super duper delicious time. You only get one life, my little honey bunnies. Sending peace, love, harmony, and bright blessings to each and every one of you. May your beautiful little selves and your beautiful little families, may you all be fully protected, and how I love you all so. Okay, you're all super duper wonderful, super duper delish, and how I love you so. Just forgot to tell you, yesterday was sirens after, I forgot to say that on yesterday's video. Sirens after sirens after sirens. That's all you heard all yesterday, my delicious babies, plus motorbikes. Okay, today, this evening, motorbikes. It's enough to drive anybody. Crackers, man. Effing crackers. Do you see what I mean? Mad, delicious babies. You just want peace and quiet. And usually it's nice and peaceful in the garden, do you know what I mean? But when you got the flipping side, I thought, what the hell is going on? It hasn't been nowhere near as bad. I've hardly heard any sirens today. But yesterday was deadly. That's just an old-fashioned saying, mad. It was absolutely effing deadly. From the morning till the evening, sirens. And sometimes it goes on till about, you'll get the odd day, you know what I mean? And sometimes it'll be 11, 12 o'clock at night. You know what I mean? Mad, little babies. I don't know. I don't know what it is when the hot weather comes anyway. Mad, little babies. I just remember it, the way I remember it. Just enjoy the sunshine. If you're fit and healthy, there we are, to do so. Do you see what I mean? But you're not going to get everybody who enjoys the heat. Mad, little babies, let's just go backwards. But no. But at the end of the day, yeah, but you do get days like that where there's just sirens after sirens after sirens. And the motorbikes, I think I don't know which one is the worst, either the sirens or the motorbikes. Both of them drive me absolutely demented. Do you know what I mean? Okay, because there's just no need for that. It's just noise. And it's just noise when you just want to live in peace. You know what I mean? My delicious little babies. So thank you for any views, for any likes, for the occasional comments, and how I love you also, okay? Because, yes, I know that my videos do not get a watch, but that's all right, that's all right. I just wanted to, I will still keep going, okay? So, I may not do a video every day, because like I say, I do it as a hobby, okay? But I'll still keep going a bit. Do you know what I mean? My delicious little babies. Anyway, so I hope that if anybody does happen to cross my channel, pass my channel, that please and thank you, that you may find any of this information interesting, or as with any of the videos that I advertise. So if it is night time, night, sleep tight, watch bed bugs don't bite. If they do, they're dynamite. And if it's morning time, well, I hope that you have a super duper delicious morning. Okay, wherever you are in the world. So, anyway, so very much love. Take care. I'm going to stop going on now. Love ya. Thank you once again for listening. Goodbye.